All right, so without further ado, welcome to this month's webinar where we're going to be speaking all about how our team here at UQ-Ochsner, both in Australia and New Orleans, does everything possible to support you as a student and make sure that you are successful in our program. My name is Lionel Edmonds. I'm the manager of admission and enrollment. I'll go ahead off and pass it off to some of our team members where they'll introduce themselves and we'll get started with the program. First up, we'll start with Susie, who's actually calling in from Australia this morning. Susie.
Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Susie, and I'm part of the medical student support team at UQ.
All right, thank you. We'll pass it on over to Dr. P, who's actually in New Orleans today.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Pistrikevich. I'm a pediatric hospitalist clinically, and for the school, I serve as the pediatric clerkship director and one of the society heads, which is a support figure.
Thank you, Dr. P. Next, we'll pass it over to Ms. Jacqueline.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Nahar. I'm the manager of clinical education at the Ochsner Clinical School, and I oversee the team of clerkship coordinators who we will get into some details regarding what they do. So thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Now we'll pass it on over to Lisa.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa Casey. I'm the Senior Student Affairs Administrator and the Ochsner Student Support Lead here in New Orleans.
All right, thank you, Lisa. And then last but not least, I have Miss Susan, who's also on here with us.
Hi guys, I'm Sue Barros. I'm the Director of Enrollment for our program, and I'm local in New Orleans with Lionel on our team, and happy to see you here tonight.
All right, thank you all for those introductions. All right, so we'll go ahead and hop on in. Again, this webinar tonight is all about you as a student, as a future student, and how we can make sure that you're going to be successful as a future student. I'll go ahead and share my screen. And we're going to start on over with Susie. Can we all see okay?
Okay, hello, everyone. So like I said, my name is Susie Migliarisi, and I'm part of the medical student support team here at UQ. So I'm based in Brisbane, sunny Brisbane today. So firstly, sorry, I've got a little bit of a frog in my throat, so do excuse me. I do want to express our firm and proactive commitment to supporting the efforts of greater diversity and inclusion within our faculty. So diversity of thought and perspectives contributes to creativity and innovation and helps us solve problems. So the Medical Student Support Team, or MSST, who are we? So yeah, just the next slide, So there we are. We're made up of 3 principal student advisors. So myself, Zoe, and Jacinta. And we are specifically dedicated to supporting students in the Faculty of Medicine, and we work really closely with the medical school. So our focus is normalising help-seeking behaviours and helping students work on their well-being and manage their stress. We really recognise that in order to be a really good health practitioner, you need to be able to take care of yourself to take care of others. So what we do is we raise awareness around the services and resources that are available within UQ, which I'll talk to a little bit more. And we also want to really help reduce some of that stigma around mental health in medicine. So we have one-on-one sessions. So you can see here, we provide support Monday through to Friday. We have appointments that are bookable by phone, by Zoom, or in person. So in years 1 and 2, we'll be looking to meet you at your clinical units and at St. Lucia campus to have those face-to-face conversations. When we're at the clinical units, we always encourage you to stop by and say hi. But we also offer for the year 3 and 4 students appointments by Zoom and phone, and we have a dedicated Friday appointment to cater for the time difference. So that's a really early start for us on Fridays and late and Thursday evening for you. So in terms of the actual support that we offer, so I think what's unique about MSST is that the sessions are confidential. So although we sit as part of the medicine program, we are able to meet with you to talk through what's going on for you personally as a medical student in your life, but that stays within that session. So we don't influence the academic guidance process or academic progression. And I think that's really key to helping remove some of the barriers to support for students in the medical program particularly. So we try and be really responsive. So if there's themes that are coming up for students around, exam stress or time management or transition, we can be really responsive and provide workshops and training around those. You can see particularly that transition support. So we've got a really strong presence and orientation. So we'll be getting to know you there, and we can help with that transition of, I guess, a bit of the culture shock that comes with moving to a new place and a new country with a new climate. I mean, Brisbane is amazing, but when you arrive, it's pretty warm. And that can be a challenge if you've come from a cold place. So we can help a lot with that transition for international students. And also you can see there in terms of, UQ, it's a really big institution. So sometimes we're sort of that first point of contact to help you navigate the processes and policies of a big institution. And you can see here with the UQ, the actual support services within student services. So I'll touch briefly on a few of those to give you an idea of what's available for when you're here. So the counselling service is a free counselling service for all students. You're eligible to access 10 counselling sessions a year. And in years 3 and 4, that falls under the EAP for Ochsner students. So that's a really useful resources. The counsellors are very well trained in identifying the types of issues that students might experience while they're studying and the unique stresses of the medicine program. We work closely with the learning advisors. So you may have completed an undergraduate program where you have study skills and strategies that worked really well for you, but moving into the medicine program, that might look a little bit different. So we refer to the learning advisors where you can get one-on-one tailored support. I'm running a workshop next week for year 1 students that are halfway through the year to reflect on their well-being, to reflect on their study skills and strategies, and to think about what they can put in place moving forward. So that's the type of work we do with the learning advisors. If you have a disability, mental health issue, physical disability, we can work with you to put something in place called a student access plan. And that is helping put in place any sort of reasonable adjustments, exam considerations that might be useful and that can help you succeed in the program. So that's really our piece as well. We can help navigate with the Faculty of Medicine. So they're the people behind the scenes here at UQ that make everything happen, course administrators, queries around exams and assessments. So we can help you navigate that process. A really great resource is the MD Learning Hub. So in year 1, you actually have a dedicated physical space at St. Lucia that you can spend time at. We're there once a week as well. And it's a real hub for you to start building that community. There's meeting rooms, there's study spaces, there's a kitchen, and it's sort of really nice to have that grounding place where you can physically go and study and connect. And just to cover briefly the UQ Medical Centre as well, I know with international students, there can be a lot of questions around the differences in the healthcare system and how that looks, and sometimes there can be some anxieties around that. UQ has their own medical centre here on campus at St. Lucia, and there's fantastic general practitioners or GPs that you can see. They're really aware of, overseas health cover and students who are paying, that gap fee. And again, really familiar with the types of paperwork that UQ requires around supporting documentation. So one of the things that you'll hear a lot at orientation is that we really encourage you to build a relationship with a GP right from the start, and that can serve you while you're here for that first 2 years. So that's a great place to start there. And a few other things to mention. the UQ Union has some fantastic resources and groups that you can get involved in, but a couple that I just wanted to mention, particularly for year one students, the Personal Advisor Network, or PAN network. We really encourage students to get involved. It's voluntary, but you can be connected with basically a mentor out in the community. So it can be a clinician or a researcher or academic that you are connected with through this program. And it's about forming a relationship for that first 2 years that you're here with them. They can help you adjust to life as a medical student. They can give you insight into their experience and their careers. And they do check-ins around, you know, your work-life balance as a medical student, which is something that's always a hot topic. So it's really great. It's an opportunity for you to build that relationship. And in years 3 and 4, my understanding is that's facilitated through Ochsner, but I would encourage you to get involved. And again, you'll hear a lot about that at orientation. There's a mentoring program, so that I'm as far as I'm aware, Ochsner students have their own mentoring program, but this MD mentoring program, I've got some nods yet. This was set up by MSST, so we have mentoring between years 1 and 2. So it is possible to get connected with a second year student who can help with that transition as well, that transition to Brisbane. And then lastly, parenting support. So for those of you who have children, families, I think we're sort of the first point of call to offer that parenting support. So we've got a lot of resources available that we've developed around what's available for childcare, what sort of student discounts are available, information about breastfeeding facilities on campus. So what, depending on where you fall within that, you know, pregnancy advice, things like that, we're sort of that first point of call. And then the UQ Union also has a parenting network and a breastfeeding network. So lots of resources there. So yes, there we go. Thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing some of your faces at orientation.
Thank you so much, Susie. As we transition into the next slide deck, I did forget to mention, we do welcome all questions. If you have any questions, please place those into the chat room. We'll be sure to try to answer any and all questions that you have. As I pull up the next slide deck, I do have a question for Susie. If you could let us know, how soon can a matriculated student or an actual, once a student matriculates, how soon can they contact you, or how soon do you guys get in contact with them?
So, I mean, generally, we're a service that's available for enrolled students. So from enrollment, basically. But you will have a lot of contact with us at orientation. So we'll be around, you'll see our faces, we'll have a chance to meet on one-on-one. So there'll be a lot of opportunity to ask questions there. And then in that transition period as well.
All right, thank you. Now we'll move on over to the next group. Dr. P is actually up next, and she'll explain her role as a society head and how she supports students not only here in New Orleans, but on Australia also.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. So there are 5 of us society heads, and we divide the class equally, and we will be starting to follow you your first year. This is the first year we've gone back to Australia since COVID, and we got the opportunity to meet all of our second year students in person and a few of our first year students. But even first year students are absolutely welcome to make appointments with us on Zoom or online. The whole point of this longitudinal 4-year relationship is for us to get to know you very well, so we can offer you advice as bumps come along, or just to augment your education. We do educational advice and coaching for moving on to the medical world. It is surprising how much an adjustment it is just going to medical school. I think every single first year medical student expresses how much information they have to take in, how overwhelmed they are with the amount of material. And you all will also be working with moving to a new continent. So we're absolutely there to support you and help you with that adjustment. We also really focus on work-life balance. We may refer you back to some of those services that Susie spoke about, just because they are on site and available to you there. Early on, if we have anybody who's struggling, whether it's academically, socially, emotionally, we want to identify you earlier than later so that we can have frequent contact. As you get further along and you come over to the US, the big milestone that everybody hears about and talks about is the step 1 of the boards. And that is a big milestone that has to be passed in order to continue on to 3rd year. And we are a big part of that. We have a course for you. We meet with you monthly as a group and individually in addition to that. And then once you're here, we really are there to kind of help you decide what do you want to do for residency? What do you want to practice? And we are there to make your application to a residency program the strongest it can be. And we will assist you with your match. And the ultimate goal is to get you a great position in the US at a residency program of your choice. So that's our long-term goal.
All right. Thank you, Dr. P. A quick question. As you guys can see, we do like to seamlessly connect both continents. Dr. P, why have you taken on this position as a society head, or why is it important to you?
Sure. So I have been in medical education since the year 2000. I was at UC Davis, and then I was at UT Memphis, and then I moved here. So I have worked with medical students and residents my entire career. Medical students who went straight through college, straight to medical school. I've worked with students who have had families and returned back to medical school. And so I've recognized their unique needs. And when I found out that we had this great program where we offer mentorship to students from year 1 to year 4, I just couldn't resist. It just sounds too great. I like mentoring people in pediatrics, but what's really exciting about being a society head is I get to see that formation from year 1 to year 4, where they may choose any specialty. And that's just a really exciting time, and you get to be a really important part of their journey.
All right. Thank you, Dr. P, for that. Next, we'll move on over to Lisa, who's with us here in New Orleans this evening. Please excuse Lisa, just like Susie. I think, there's a summer cold going around, so she may be a little harsh, but she's here with us today, and I love her for it. All right, Lisa.
Thank you, Lionel. You can switch to the next slide. Thank you. So the Office of Student and Academic Affairs is here to guide medical students from year 1 of medical school and beyond. I like to let the students know that we're always going to be here for them. They think that once they graduate, they would be done with us, but they always come back for us to help them. We are dedicated administrators in assisting the society heads with advice for academic and personal issues. We assist with the USMLE Step 1 prep course by tracking students and that they're meeting their benchmarks and scheduling society head meetings along the way, just to make sure that they are getting as much help as that they need. We assist students with onboarding needs between years 2 and 3, the transition from Australia to New Orleans. And we organize student symposiums to keep students informed of important issues. We organize student wellness events, field day activities, and assist with organizing what the students refer to as the fall ball. We currently have 17 active student interest groups that we refer to as the SIGs, and 9 student clubs. And every spring we have a SIG fair where underclassmen are invited to come check out the SIGs and clubs to see if it's something they would be interested in participating in. Our team also assists students with preparing their ERAS applications, editing their dean's letters for the match, assisting with paperwork required for residency after medical school, state board licensure, fellowships, etc. Basically, we are an official branch of the University of Queensland, and we handle all paperwork and whatnot to help the student be successful through medical school and beyond.
All
Next
right.
slide,
Thank you,
please.
Lisa. Thank you. Before I move on, I would definitely be sad if I didn't mention. I know you guys are looking at Susie, you see Lisa, you see Jackie. However, once you're in a program, these are the faces behind the scene that you may not see. So please get a great look at them, because you will see many emails from them very, very often. These are my behind the scene people who are scratching and clawing to make sure that you guys are successful. All right, we'll move on over to Jackie, and she'll tell us about the Ochsner Clinical School and some rotational information.
All right, great. Thanks, Lionel. All right. Let's see. All right, so thanks again for having me. Of course, I'm here to talk to you guys about support in years 3 and 4. There's lots of different avenues for support, so I'm just going to kind of go through some of these in more detail, and I welcome any questions that you may have. So as you can see, there's a variety of aspects in the area of support for students at the clinical school. So first is the clerkship directors, which those are the physician leads for each course that you rotate through in years 3 and 4. As Dr. P mentioned, she is the clerkship director for the pediatrics course. So there is a physician that leads every course within year 3 and 4. The clerkship coordinators are the leaders for the administrative support during your rotation. So any examples of what they would do are assessment questions, deadlines, issues with any of the platforms that we use, access, course materials. And then, as Susie mentioned earlier, any student that has learning needs which require a student access plan, I would be the one to implement those student access plans behind the scene, like Lionel mentioned, with the approved plan, and work with the coordinators to ensure any of those needs are met. So there are a few different ways that students who have special needs, those plans can be implemented. So some of them are clinical accommodations, which would be on the clinical rotation, and then another would be through examinations. So a couple different things there. And then, as mentioned, the coordinators, they oversee the rotation. They handle creating schedules, working with departments and staff to ensure that they're aware of the students who are coming to rotate, and making sure that they're aware of any curriculum updates and course requirements. As far as the robust opportunities, so students have opportunities to rotate through a multitude of medical specialties, specialty clinics, community-based sites, inpatient units. They participate in surgical procedures, kind of all of the above. All of your rotations are guaranteed placements within the Ochsner system. So under no circumstances, students need to find their own placements unless you're wishing to do so for an elective sub-internship type placement. Okay, so that can be unique to our school. We definitely don't want you guys having to scrounge around to find your own placements. And then additionally, for any students who would be interested in doing away rotations, we have an electives coordinator who's here to assist you with your application applying away. Applications may consist of certain requirements like letters of good standing, transcripts, approval letters, and you also would have access to the Visiting Student Learning Opportunities portal, and that's where institutions post their rotation opportunities. So lots of good areas for support. And Lisa, are you talking about student affairs here, or is this my section as well?
I'm happy to talk about it.
Okay.
As I mentioned, we are an official branch of the UQ Medical School. We manage the medical societies. I have 2 other colleagues that assist me with doing the plethora of work that we have here. We verify enrollment for rotational placements. We deal with student wellness. We work with the OMSA officers and student interest groups. We do verifications for ECFMG and USMLE. We assist students with the USMLE Step 1 and Step 2 CK study materials, such as the first aid and the UWorld access, residency application processes, graduation requirements, post-graduation documentation, and credentialing and other official documentation. Jackie, would you like to discuss Panama?
Sure. So abroad opportunities, we did have students rotate through Panama last year. We do have students rotating again through Panama this year, and we've also started a rotation for Colombia, which students are currently applying for, to go later in the year for an optional elective rotation. In the past, we have had students rotate to Haiti and also to Manipal, India. So those rotations are available, application basis, and some have come and gone just because of the pandemic. But we're consistently working with directors in global health to try to, enhance our opportunities for students to go away at other locations. So.
All right, thank you. And then we'll follow up. Last word, Lisa has a little about the peer support for us.
Correct. So UQ-MS, which stands for the University of Queensland Medical Society, is the overall student body government that was established in 1936. Their mission is to create a diverse opportunity to inspire and develop well-rounded medical students by promoting student wellness and advocating in the best interest of the student body. Now, to your left there, you'll see that we also have OMSA, which is the student advocacy organization run by the students of UQ-Ochsner MD program. It's a joint collaboration in medical education between the University of Queensland and Ochsner Health. Now, you can become a leader in OMSA in year 3 whenever you transition to New Orleans. We host elections in late October, early November, where they will appoint leadership, and they have positions such as the president, the vice president, the liaison officer, academic officer, outreach officer, diversity officer, research officer, philanthropy officer, and UQ-MS liaison. The OMSA leadership meet monthly with Dr. Denton, the Dean of Students, Mr. Peters, the administrators of the Student and Academic Affairs Office, and the enrollment team to raise issues the student body is facing, and each officer has a space on the monthly agenda. Would you mind to move to the next slide, Lionel?
Yep.
So we definitely do believe in work-life balance. This photograph on the left is OMSA representatives from 2022 at the Fall Ball with the director of Ochsner Alumni Association on the Creole Queen riverboat. That's where they chose to have their party at that year. And then on the right is a student that is assisting in a surgery, it appears. And then the next slide. The next slide would be the ever anticipated field day that we host every spring. Dr. Denton's there in the middle. He used to be the society head for Caldwell. This was the class of 2018, and they were proudly posing because they won the kickball games that year. So I think that's all I got. Lionel, do you have any questions?
Yes. That is all for our slide deck, everyone. I really appreciate you guys sharing that information. Now we'll open up the chat room for any questions that you guys may have. If you have any questions, please enter that into the chat room. I'll start off with a few questions, maybe one for each of you. Susie, I know you mentioned family or spousal support. Does that include if your spouse was possibly looking for employment also?
Yeah, so I think as a first point of contact as an Ochsner student, you can come and see us at any time at the beginning when you first transitioning to life in Brisbane. So I met with a lot of Year 1 students this year who had brought their partners, and some of whom had young children. And while we don't meet with the partner themselves, we can give them some really great starting resources for the partner to access support services in the community. So resources, free resources that are available to help find employment and direct them to the sort of, I guess, the websites and things that are different to what they find at home. So yeah, we're happy to support in that way, but we meet directly with the student themselves.
Okay, thank you. We'll go over to Dr. P. I know you mentioned this year you guys went to Australia to visit those Year 1 students. Could you tell us a little bit about that visit and what may have been accomplished during that visit?
Sure. So it was very good for us to go over and meet our counterparts there. We're working on different curriculum changes, and for us to actually in person meet with people who are making decisions with us as a team about the future curriculum was very helpful. So we understand what our year 1 and year 2 students are going through while we're here with our year 3 and 4 students. So that was very helpful. We also got to meet folks from Student Support Services, which was very helpful because we can see what our students have available to them. Just seeing Brisbane period was really helpful because I have never lived in Australia, obviously. So it's nice to be able to know where the students are living and what environment they're in. So I think it was invaluable. Meeting folks in person rather than just on Zoom is really, really helpful. The 4 years does fly by very quickly. And so it is, when you have, 20 something students from each class, if you don't meet them in person, I don't think it's quite the same as just via Zoom. So we're really happy we went back, and we anticipate continuing that.
All right, thank you. We'll go over to Jackie, a little bit about the rotation. I know you mentioned that the students have guaranteed locations at Ochsner. Is there anything that the student has to do on their end as far as rotations are concerned, or how much is actually taken care of for them?
Okay, so the rotations, all of your third year core rotations are planned for you. You would allocate and preference your rotations as you wish to take them in whatever order. But all of your placements are scheduled for you within the Ochsner system. So students do have to travel to some locations outside of our main campus. Most clinics are within the New Orleans area. Some are a little bit further out, like on our North Shore area, Baton Rouge, and those kind of locations. So everything is planned for you. The only rotations that you would potentially find on your own would be any elective away placements that you're wishing to check out for a sub-internship placement. And like I mentioned, we do have an electives coordinator to help walk you through that process. But if you're unable to get approved for an away rotation, you would always have a secured place at Ochsner.
All right, thank you.
Well, can I speak to Jackie's point? As
Please.
far as the Ochsner system, we are huge, and we have clinics in many, many different locations. And it's really very helpful to be able to work at the large medical center, but also in some of the more remote sites. Because if you only train in one setting, you don't get a good picture of what the health of the state of Louisiana is like. So this is actually something very unique. We're not just a medical center in a large city, a small, large city. We are a medical center that has extended its tentacles into Mississippi, up into the northern Louisiana area. And ideally, over time, we may actually be able to put students in further away locations if they choose to, especially for fourth year rotations where they might want to work on remote health or something like that. So those are discussions we're having, and I think it's one of the really impressive benefits that Ochsner has in our area.
Thank you, Dr. P. We'll move over to Lisa. I know you mentioned that we support students even past graduation. If you could think of a time quickly where we actually had to support a student, and how did we assist that student past graduation?
I have students come back all the time that want to go into fellowship, particularly. They have forgotten everything that they learned in medical school as far as who does what. So we take the reins there and we handle all of that, particularly when it comes to state board licensure. We are able to assist with all of that type of paperwork. We know the answers, we know the questions to ask, and we know the right people to get the questions answered as quickly as possible for them. Sometimes, a lot of times these graduates are very, very busy in their residency, and they don't know, they don't read all the fine print. And a lot of times I've already dealt with a lot of that stuff. So I can quickly address that stuff for them. I'm happy to.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. Jackie, if you could speak about the Australian return rotation a little bit for us.
Sure. So one of the requirements of the Australian Medical Council is that our students do return to Australia for a clinical placement in their 4th year. And right now, the current 4th years and next year's students are returning for a 6-week rotation. And still in discussion with the new change in curriculum for our new program, what the return looks like. So whether that's going to be a 4-week rotation, a 6-week rotation, that's still to be decided. But it is a requirement for the Australian Medical Council for our students to return back for at least one placement. And some students prefer to stay back in Brisbane longer. And so you're able to do that as well, if approved, but they would go back for either a medicine and society rotation or rural remote medicine. You could return back for a emergency medicine orthopedic rotation or a medical specialties. So lots of opportunity to go back, and just one rotation would be mandated for the student to return in their 4th year.
All right, thank you. I do want to mention, I know you guys may be looking at us and we all look old. I have a little gray hair here. It may be hard for you to reach out to someone so much older and, hey, it's my parent harping on me. The Ochsner Facebook page ran by the students is a great resource for a lot of information. This will be information coming from your peers. You can ask questions directly to them on the Facebook. They place all information about transitioning to Australia. So if it's hard for you guys to reach out to us old people, please do check out the Facebook page. Please check out our social media pages. A lot of information is shared via students, and it's peer-to-peer where you can feel comfortable asking in a manner that makes you feel comfortable. Any other questions? Please place your questions into the chat box. Let's check to see if we have any. I don't see any at the moment. Sue, do you see any questions? Do we have any questions at all?
Do not see any questions just yet.
Okay. If you guys have questions, please put in your questions. I don't want to hold the team too long if we don't have to, but we are here for you, so we can wait on your questions if need be. Is there any information that you guys want to leave them with? If you had one piece of advice for someone considering the program from your perspective, what would that advice be? I'll kind of start. Being the manager of admissions and enrollment, seeing a lot of different school and programs and what they have to offer, understanding the concept of being an IMG. I want to tell anyone, if you're thinking about it, please remove all blinders that you may have. I've noticed a lot of students kind of get stuck into what they think has to be done or the way they think it has to be done. This program is a great opportunity that a lot of people don't see because they have their blinders on. So if you remove your blinders, you'll see so much more. Dr. P, if you have a piece of advice.
Absolutely. So you touched on that just a little bit about the blinders. UQ is very unique as far as an international medical school. We train your 3rd and 4th year here amongst your US colleagues, and you will be taking the NBME exams just like your US colleagues, and you'll be studying for step 2 of the boards just like your US colleagues. We have an exceedingly amazing match rate, which was 99%, but Dr. Dent will correct me, it's now 100%. So that was our match rate last year. So you're not going to find that amongst many schools, even domestic schools. So the team that you see in front of you has worked very, very, very hard and has created an excellent program to get you well educated and matched into a specialty within the US where you'd like to practice. So, I mean, I can't say enough about that to alleviate any concerns or fears that you may have.
Thank you. Thank you.
We
I
do
do
have
see
questions right now.
Yep, I'll actually let you answer that first one, Sue, on class sizes.
Sure, I'll talk about the class size. The cohort for Ochsner that we contributed between 90 and 100 students. and you will be joining the incoming class of domestic Australians and also international students that apply directly to the University of Queensland. So the first year class at UQ is really pretty large, about 350, 400 students, and you will be involved in a cohort of 90 to 100 within that group.
Okay. And then I think Sue will let you start this one, and then maybe Susie kind of help out with this question. When can they expect more onboarding information for those who have accepted? And I think it has something to do with us finalizing the class a little bit.
Right. Well, in the COE that you received, there's a check. There's a link that will bring you to a checklist that you can work through. You should be working through at this time if you've received an offer. So definitely go back to your COE, read that really quick, really carefully. Also, your letter of acceptance should have a lot of information, links. So if you don't see that, let us know and we'll find out exactly how to direct you, but it should be right there and does contain that checklist for you to work through.
Anything to add to that, Susie?
Not really, because I'm really,
Okay.
once they've enrolled, that's when I really start to engage with the student cohort. So timeline wise, I'm not sure, but yeah.
I can add if you've received your Ochsner email, definitely use that, the UQ-Ochsner email. Use it to check everything, because that is the main way that they will be communicating with you, the at uq.edu email.
Okay. And also just to add on, if you check out our event tabs on the website, and also you should be receiving invites soon, but towards the end of the year in the fall, we start to have other webinars where it's supporting your departure to UQ, living in New Orleans, and then there's a pre-departure webinar at the very end of the year. So make sure you look out for those upcoming webinars where we give a lot more information about the transition. Any other questions? As the questions come in, I'll go over to Jackie, if you have a piece of advice you'd like to give.
I don't know if it's advice or just pointing out the fact that we have a large population of graduates at this point, almost 1,000. I think we're hitting 1,000 at the end of this year. So a very large pipeline for residents and senior faculty now at this point who are great contacts. And, you know, they've also been working at, you know, institutions and proving how great our graduates are. So just a great program. Of course, Brisbane is beautiful. And it's just a great experience from what we've seen. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. And Lisa, any advice or information, last piece of information you'd like to share?
I would like to encourage everyone to communicate. As Lionel pointed out, we are the old people here, but we're not here to judge. We want to help you along your path. And I can't say we've seen it all, but we've seen a lot. So happily reach out to any of us. We can always try to steer you in the right direction.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And please read your emails. Please read. There's a lot of information. I know you guys get a lot of emails often, but please read your emails. Most everything can be found in your emails. Any other questions? Also, if you guys want to speak to a current student, you can go into our website. There's a link where you can request to speak to a fourth-year student one-on-one. If you have any particular questions about the program or you need information about admissions or requirements, you can also request to speak to an enrollment officer also. So please check that out. Again, as I mentioned, social media, we have all the social media pages. We do have Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, and please check out all of the information. We have great information for you guys on there. I think that's the best way to mass communication these days. So please check that out. There's a few emails and links that have been dropped into the chat. If you have any questions, there's an email for that specifically. There's also a link directly to the one-on-one support if you want to speak to an admissions rep or a student. Please do so. Please communicate. Please read your emails. Please remove your blinders. Please be accepting to us, and we'll be accepting to you. Any more questions? Any more questions at all? I don't think we have any more to end us off. You know, we really appreciate everyone joining us this evening. You could have been anywhere in the world at this time, but you're here with us, and we really appreciate it. To end us off, you know, since we're speaking about support, I'd like to leave you guys with a little note from one of my favorite artists. It may show my age, but I'll give it my best, and then we'll end the webinar. But thank you guys. If you have any questions, please reach out. And this is my best. You are not alone. We are here with you. Though you're far away, we are here to stay. All right, that's it, you guys. Enjoy your day. Everyone have a good day.
Thanks, Lynell. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you.